If I could just find a way to introduce myself on these videos, they'd start off a lot better. Good job. You left your happy ex, but now you're faced with having to co-parent with him. Here are my 5 favorite tips for co-parenting with an abusive or a toxic or just a scorned and hateful ex. Tip number 1, stop taking their phone calls. But wait, how can I not take their phone calls if I have to co-parent with them? I know. What? How do you co-parent with somebody when you don't answer their calls? But the truth is, toxic people, they like to pull you into an argument. That's their ploy. That's what they do. If you have to answer and you have to respond right away in a phone call, it's going to be a lot easier for them to pull you in emotionally and get you all wrapped into whatever it is they're deciding to say to you at the moment. So stop taking their phone calls. Don't answer. I know. They keep calling. Your phone won't stop ringing. They're going to text you soon. Tip number 2. When the text messages start coming in, don't read them. Okay, I'm kind of kidding. You will have to read them, but you don't need to read them first. Have somebody that you trust read the text messages for you. They can screen out all the junk. If your text message is full of insults insults, yeah, they'll screen that stuff out. But sometimes mixed in with those insults, they might actually ask you a question that you do need to respond to, but you don't need to read all the rest. So have a friend or a relative read that stuff for you, not tell you what it is, and then just give you the lowdown on what might actually be important. Tip number 3. If it's not on paper, stop freaking out about it. Oh my God, he's gonna take my kids. Oh my gosh, he said. I know. You have to understand, this person knows you well enough to not only know what makes you happy, but also what makes you tick. So they're gonna throw everything at you because either 1, they're hurting, 2, they're toxic, or 3, they're just manipulative and abusive. Either way, if it's not on paper, don't worry about it. When you get served papers, then freak out for 5 minutes and then call an attorney. In the meantime, don't worry about everything else. They're just threats. That's all they're there for. They're trying to invoke an emotional response. Don't give it to them. Tip number 4. Ever heard of something called Grayrocking? Okay, well, if you haven't heard of it, it's this really great way of dealing with an abusive ex-spouse. Grayrocking is in reference to becoming so boring you are like a gray pebble in a stream. No one notices you and no one pays you any attention. Toxic people, they need power over you. It's what feeds their ego. When you grayrock them, it means that you become so boring in response that you no longer feed their power, you no longer feed their ego. They have to move on, they have to find a new target. Unfortunately, that's what will happen, but you will be out and they will be in and life will be a lot better. Tip number 5. Listen, I'm not an attorney, so maybe before you do this tip, you should consult with an attorney. Pick your battles. I know, you hear that all the time, but what I mean by picking your battles with an abusive ex-spouse is you can't nitpick every poor decision they make. Unless it's something directly harming your children, their safety, or they're being abused, physically neglected, then you have to let everything else go. Is it crappy that he decided to bring his new girlfriend around 2 weeks into the relationship and 3 weeks after your divorce? Yeah, it's terrible. It's an awful decision. But ultimately, that's not a battle worth picking because they're never going to see your point of view, ever. Check yourself. You won't be able to do any of these things if some part of you is still hanging on to the relationship. You have to move past wanting to get revenge. You have to move past wanting to hurt them. And you have to move past being scorned. Listen, I know they hurt you and they did all sorts of wrong things and they ruined your marriage. You can't be scorned and also want to move on. You have to be willing to let it all go. I don't mean you have to forgive them tomorrow. What I mean is you have to understand that you can separate your past with them from your future with them. So take that past, put it in a box, and say, I'll deal with this at another time. I'm not going to let it interfere with the parenting I need to do with you now. Make your own life, make your own things, do your own things, be your own parent. When you do, all the other steps that I gave you will be so much easier.